Hi folks, the Filipino P here. And a lot of you sent me a video about a foreigner who spent 3 years in a Filipino jail. What was the offense? Arguing with his Filipina girlfriend. Now, when I heard about this, I assumed there was nothing to it, but I decided to send the video to Attorney Dave Batula to get his reaction. And boy, was I ever surprised by what he said. So, can you actually go to jail for arguing with a Filipina? Hello, Attorney Dave. Welcome back. How have you been?
Hi, P. I'm all good so far, so good.
So, anyway, Attorney, I've got a lot of questions about this video that was posted on another YouTube channel where they said that, a foreigner was actually thrown in jail for 3 years. Here's a short summary of the situation according to his friend. I'm going to, play the clip.
This video, I want to talk about a friend of mine that I met here, and he is now in prison in the Philippines. He's serving time here. The guy I'm talking about is an American guy, really good-natured man, very kind man. He was with this woman, and they've been together for a long time. He was telling me a little bit about her, that she was like, one day she'd be good, and then she'd turn on him and become nasty and, quite aggressive. Because of the argumentation that was going on and the aggressiveness from her, and I did see it. He said to me, Steve, he says, I can't stand this no more. He says, I'm going to have to leave. He moved about 10 kilometers away, and they were separated for about a year. Then what happened? She made an allegation to the police. She made an allegation of indecent assault, and it was a Saturday morning. I'll never forget it. It was a Saturday morning. He sent me a message. He said, I don't think I'll be coming today. He said, I've been arrested. What? You've been arrested for what? He said, I don't know the charge yet. He said, I wait till they process me and wait till they find out what I've been charged with. Anyway, he was charged with indecent assault with his ex-girlfriend. He's in jail now, and this case has been going on for 3 years. Now, his ex-girlfriend said to the judge that she wanted 4 million pesos to drop the charges. I don't even know you can do that. I didn't even know if you've been charged with something, if you can demand money. But he wouldn't do it, because he said, if I pay that, then it looks like I'm guilty. So this case has been going on for 3 years, guys, and I'm just saying this story, how easy it is to make an allegation. When it's indecent assault in the Philippines, you don't get bail. You can't get out until your case is done, guilty or not guilty. And he's lost so much weight, he looks ill. But I don't know when he's coming out. This case has been going on for so long. He was having hearings all the time. He just keep getting adjourned. And update on my friend. The judge has found him guilty, but not guilty of assault because there was no evidence towards it. But wait for this. They found him guilty on verbal violence. You know what verbal violence is? It's an argument. The judge is making a decision on what is going to be his sentence. But he's already served 3 years in prison. I don't know what the sentence is for having an argument, people. Having an argument with your Filipina girlfriend, ex-girlfriend. But apparently here, it's an offence. It can be an offence, and your Filipina can bring charges against you. At best, what's going to happen? Well, at best, he will be deported. This is what his attorney said to him, because now he's classed as undesirable because he's actually been found guilty of having an argument.
So, anyway, Attorney, what do you think? Can a woman really file a case against a man just for having a verbal argument, with no physical evidence? Because in the video, according to the friend, he wasn't found guilty of assault, but verbal abuse. Verbal abuse is like arguing. So, does that mean if my boyfriend yelled at me, it's like, you're verbally abusing me?
Of course, we need to qualify the verbal arguments. Not all arguments are abuse, of course. We can argue, we can hurt each other's feelings, but that's normal in relationships, right? And even friends, family members argue it every day, but that doesn't mean there is abuse there. Under the anti-violence against women, or what we call the VAUC law in the Philippines, verbal and emotional abuse is a crime. But it usually applies in the context of, domestic or intimate relationships with a partner. And there are, of course, qualifications as to when an argument or, words can fall under verbal abuse.
What does it take for an argument to become verbal violence? What if my boyfriend called me fat? You're annoying. Is that verbal abuse? Like, "Ah, my feelings are hurt. How could you? I'm gonna go to the police and file a blotter."
The answer would be yes and no. Partially, you're surprised, right? But we qualify. I like to qualify that one. Like repeated, that needs to be repeated. Repeated insults, belittling, humiliation. There has to be an intent of, the your boyfriend belittling you, or the boyfriend telling you that you're fat, you're ugly, etc. There's maybe an argument. It's verbal abuse if there's a threatening harm, constant criticism that causes emotional suffering. A single argument may not usually qualify for a verbal abuse unless, of course, the argument is part of a pattern or involves serious threats of harm. And that woman should be a person with whom you have sexual relationships with, and not just any other person.
Okay. So if a foreigner is arguing with a woman who is a vendor because she overcharged him, that can't be verbal abuse.
Unless, of course, the foreigner has sexual relations with the vendor. But if the foreigner does not have any sexual relations with the vendor, that is not the verbal abuse under the context of the violence against women and other children.
So you have to sleep with the person for them to use.
Yeah, in fact, in quite oddly, but in one case actually, since the qualifier there is you've had sexual relations with a woman, even lesbians can be, accused of committing vowsy because the lesbian has a sexual relation with a girlfriend.
Can the man do the same thing to the woman?
Violence against women only protects women and the children.
Attorney, we should have man's rights to make it.
I
Well,
believe so. And I'm an advocate of that. I mean, in our society today, where of course women wants to promote equality with men, then I believe laws should also be equal.
nowadays women are abusive. They're like exploiting the law. Is it even possible that a foreigner can go to jail for years on just an allegation?
Any person, Filipino or foreigner, can be arrested based on a valid complaint. And if there's a probable cause, there has to be evidence. Before you get arrested, there should be preliminary investigations. That's done by the prosecutor before a case is filed against you. But generally, you cannot really be arrested just by mere allegations. When a girlfriend accuses somebody of committing crimes against her, those are allegations first, unless of course corroborated by evidence such as testimonies of probably people who saw the crime, evidence, for example, like CCTV video or text messages or whatever evidence you can present in court. So, allegations must be supported, well substantiated for it to create a reasonable certainty of conviction and have the person arrested.
Can he not get out on bail? Why would he be held for that long without a trial?
Some crimes are bailable. Once you file or pay the bail, you can get out. And however, there are cases that are non-bailable when, the evidence of guilt is so strong that the court will deny bail because they are probably sure that you committed the crime. So they would not allow you to file bail. Some cases, for example, where bail is within the discretion of the court, they would also deny you bail if they know that you might flee the country or there is fear that you might commit the crime again.
What if the whole family, in cahoots with this Filipina and then just say, yeah, he was verbally violent against her?
The testimony is actually not enough. even if there are many people telling the court that it really happened. Verbal violence, there must be evidence of a pattern.
How does that work? Is that a criminal case? Is it?
Yeah, yeah, VAUSI or violence against women and children is actually a criminal case. So if a Filipina will actually file a case against you under VAUSI law or the violence against women and children, that's a criminal case that has imprisonment if you are proven guilty.
For how long, attorney? Let's say just for verbal violence.
Well, depending on that, I would say in VAUSI cases normally more than 6 years.
6 years for something, and arguing with someone. I know. A lot of you are now saying that now the Philippines is done. Feminism ruined the Philippines. That's ridiculous. He needs a better lawyer. Here in the Philippines, we don't have a jury system, and his fate will be decided by one man, the judge. Is that true, attorney?
In the Philippines, there's no jury system. Both sides has opportunity to check or cross-examine the witnesses, and the judge, of course, determines, has a final say as to who will win the case.
Okay, so during the video, attorney, the friend said that the woman actually told the guy, the accused, that she'll drop all the charges if he pays her. At first, he mentioned 4 million. And then in the second video, it was like 2 to 3 million pesos. That's about like 1 million pesos is more or less 20,000 US dollars. So for 3 million, that's like 60,000 US dollars. Can you really accuse someone of assault, then demand a certain amount of money to drop the charges? I mean,
I
that's
wouldn't. It happens though. It happens though. But unfortunately, some people attempt that, especially in cases involving foreigners. It's called extortion, and it's illegal. It's extortion. You're asking money. You make accusations and then ask for money in exchange of dropping the case. But in real world scenario, settlement or amicable settlement exists, but if the end view of amicable settlement is just to get money in exchange of dropping, that can be extortion. I would not recommend out of court or private conversations, because that's when extortion happens, where the judge doesn't know that the parties are already trying to agree amicably to drop the case. If it's out of court, the price gets up.
and it's all open for exploitation. And
Aside that, it's actually extortion if it's out of court.
I think the friend said on the video that apparently the judge was okay with it. It just sounded like that the judge was telling the accused to take the offer, like just pay her up. But if you can extort a man by putting him in jail unless he pays, isn't it going to happen more to foreigners, attorney? I mean, they're the ones with the money.
Yeah, especially that our viewers here in their channel, these are foreigners who have probably one way or another they wanted to come to the Philippines, and they might be afraid of coming to the Philippines now that they knew this one. When you're in a foreign country like the Philippines, of course, Filipinos know what's happening here, the laws here. So when you want you to come here, it's important that you know your rights, you know what to do if these things happen. You can watch Filipina P, that's this channel for more, legal education. Just to clarify, Miss P, we're not really against Filipinas here. We're not against our fellow Filipinos. It's just that, there are people, just as anywhere else in the world, there are people who take advantage of foreigners. And it's our goal in this channel to protect the interests of these people who, innocently come to the Philippines to date Filipinas, to discover more of the country, to experience our culture. And unfortunately, they meet people who take advantage of them. And that's what we're trying to protect in this channel.
Aren't all men here in the Philippines, Filipinos and foreigners, they're all at risk?
Yeah, if that's the scenario that you've mentioned, if a woman can just file and by mere allegations, and allegations are sufficient to arrest a person, then I wouldn't marry a woman. Actually, I wouldn't be in a relationship with any woman. I'm no longer safe in such society. There's always the threat of being incarcerated, that by mere allegations it might destroy reputations, and in the long run your reputation is tarnished and you're not the same person as you were.
All right, attorney, thanks again for your time, and I'll see you next time. If you need anything from Attorney Batula, I'll put his contact information in the description box and also on the top pinned comment. Now, even though we don't know the specifics of this particular case, I gotta tell you, if I was a foreigner, I wouldn't be comfortable with the situation at all. So let's say your Filipina gets tired of your relationship and she starts arguing with you and hitting things up and getting you to a boiling point right before she presses record on her cell phone. She does this for a few weeks or even a few months, and then she takes the recordings to the police. For support, she brings her mom with her, and maybe even a few cousins for good measure, and they all swear that you've been verbally abusive. And for those of you who don't think family members will lie to support a member of the clan, think again. Next thing you know, you're facing a Sophie's choice: up to 6 years in a Filipino prison or paying extortion money, and then getting kicked out of the country, as well as the house you paid for. Does that happen all the time? No. But could it happen? Sounds to me like the answer is yes. And maybe that's what happened to the guy in the story. We just don't know. Now, a lot of you are gonna say, okay, well, that's it for the Philippines. I'm never going there again. And quite honestly, I'm not gonna try and change your mind. Maybe we're just too far gone with our crazy laws. But for those of you who think you might be in danger, let me give you some advice. If a woman's planning to betray you, she'll try to collect evidence first. So beware of rage baiting, especially online, where she's got a perfect record of it. If your relationship goes south and she's constantly trying to get you angry, don't fall for it. Just pull reverse tampo on her, stay quiet, and get ready to leave, even the country if necessary. Now, some of you are gonna say, thanks a lot, P. Now Filipinos have the perfect way to get rid of us or extort us with the threat of jail. But I thought about it and decided it was better to warn you than to pretend I didn't see a problem. Contrary to those stupid people who claim I only talk about how great the Philippines is, most of my videos are actually negative, except when I'm talking about the people themselves. And even then, half the time it's negative. But no matter how good the average Filipino is, when you give good people a law that's easy to abuse, you end up with a serious problem. But no matter what you make of all this, just so you know, I'm telling it like it is. Well, that's it for this episode, and I'll be back next Friday with more news from the Philippines. Till then, folks. Sir, do you have any idea how fast you were speeding? Speeding through my video and not paying attention to a word I said? I'm gonna let you go with a warning this time. A warning that you better give a thumbs up on this video, subscribe to my channel, and visit my Patreon page for extra content and exclusive videos and features. Got it?
I don't even want to watch your stupid videos.
Alright, out of the car. I think this one needs a full cavity search, the hard way. And for the rest of you good citizens, may I suggest watching my other videos too? And remember, I can have you in handcuffs anytime I want.